Attention in the barns, this is your third and final call, class 5 and 6, red poles. Third and final call, class 5 and 6, red poles. This is your first call, class 9, 10, and 11, red poles. First call, class 9, 10, and 11.
Be a class and a division winner, so if you give that pair a round of applause, I would appreciate it. We've got a pretty frisky bunch here, and again, all of them are kind of fighting the halter here in second and third, but for me, the young man out here is going to go ahead and lead us off. Is just one from a balance perspective. You study her from the side, and she really just paints a beautiful silhouette. I like the way she ties that head and neck up into the top end of her shoulder there, the way she lays her blade back into her forerib, and then as she goes down her spine, really nice and flexible when she gets set on the motion there. Nice and long and leveled hip. One that maybe, again, we want to deepen her up in her flank. Is she the most bold and powerful female of the bunch? No, she's not, but she is the one that's certainly the most structurally correct in my eyes out here of this lineup. Similar in type and kind of female here is the one in second. One, again, that still reads a bit more feminine. I like, again, the length of neck that she's got, but she wants to turn up that spine as she gets set into motion there. But when you get behind her, there's a lot of width and density there in her rear quarter, but one that's just uncoordinated when she gets set into motion there. Doesn't really give you a good look. Maybe she's not as centrally placed in her throw position as you'd like her to be to really reach underneath of herself and get on the move there, but one that fits most neatly in type and kind. Then kind of the oddball out in this particular lineup is one that's a bit more market heavy. one out here that, again, reads a little bit more market. I love the length of body that she gives from her 13th rib there back. One that, again, still has quite a bit of heart about her. I like her genuine chest width and her arm size. Just one that reads a bit more tubular when you get her on the profile. Maybe not as clean as and extended out through her front 1/3 and as feminine as I'd like to see, but certainly one that's the most powerful female from end to end when you study her from behind.
This is your final call, Class 9, 10, and 11 red poles. Third and final call, Class 9, 10, and 11 red poles. This is your first call, Class 14 and 15 red poles. First call, Class 14 and 15 red poles.
Here in our calf division drive out here. We've got two females that I think still represent nicely, and if you were to get them into larger classes, I think they'd stand well against their contemporaries out here. I described them in their individual classes, so I won't spend a lot of time on that, but I think there's one out here that just leans more into my natural type and kind. She's really feminine, really long and extended, ties up beautifully when you study her from the profile. One, maybe you want to lay her knee back into her just a little bit, square her up out of her toe, give her a little more flank as you study her from the side, but again is one that just really silhouettes really nicely. And then your reserve out here would be one that, again, I think has a lot of promise and a lot of future, a lot of width and dimension, a good amount of density there in this heifer, but one that maybe just ties up into her spine as she gets set into motion. Want to give her a little bit more structural correctness from a balance perspective. I think that'd see her very competitive. That being said, the young man here is going to be your champion. Young man here is going to be your reserve. Let's give him a hand.
First call, Class 23, 25, and 27 balancer. First call, Class 23, 25, and 27 balancers. This time, we'd also like to introduce your judge for your Red Pole show, Mr. Tyler Marker. Tyler is a fourth-generation cattleman and co-owner of Diamond View Farms in Albion, Indiana, where his family is dedicated to raising, showing, and selling quality cattle. Their program has produced multiple grand champions, including being three-time Indiana State Fair grand champion winner since 2023. Tyler is a graduate of Purdue University, where he earned dual degrees in ag economics and ag business management. He then earned his master's in business from the Kelley School of Business at IU Bloomington. While a member of Purdue's judging team, he was recognized with High Overall Individual and High Reasons Individual at the Fort Worth Stock Show. Our judge, Tyler Marker, has had the privilege to judge shows at all levels and major species across the country, spanning from New York to Alaska. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our judge today, Mr. Tyler Marker.
Well, we certainly got the fun breed out here today. I'm glad that no one was hurt, and thank you for everybody there to help get these animals caught. For me out here in this first class, we're going to go ahead and lead off with the young man's heifer out here. One that I think just really puts a lot of pieces together well for you. Starting at her front 1/3, very elegant and clean out of her throat latch there. She ties her neck up well into the point of that shoulder. I like the elevation and the arm length that she's working with. As you study her up front, she lays her shoulder back just nice and flat into that forerib. Blends very smoothly there. She's long and extended through that center body, and as you get behind her, you're not disappointed in the density and expression and dimension that she's working with from stifle to stifle there, and walks very correctly on her feet and legs. A really promising heifer there as she continues on her journey for that young man. Young man here in second is one, again, just reads a bit more commercial in her overall type and kind. One that's a little bit shorter in her neck, ties up a little more into a rounder shoulder there. Doesn't have quite the depth of body. I appreciate the length that she's working with in her center body, but one that's just uncoordinated when she gets on the move out of her rear leg. I like to give her a little more ideal set to that hawk when she strides away from you.
First call, all red pole bulls, please make your way to the makeup arena. First call, all red pole bulls, please make your way to the makeup arena. Results from your Junior Gelvy Heifer Show. In first place from class number 8 goes to entry number 7, Butler's Miss Marna, 534M, exhibited by Jet Banker of Stewart, Oklahoma. Your Class 9 winner goes to entry number 8, Clara Allen, 415M, exhibited by Corbin Lowe of Winfield, Kansas. Congratulations to your Junior Gelfie Heifer champion goes to entry number 8, Clara Allen, 415M, exhibited by Corbin Lowe of Winfield, Kansas. Reserve champion goes to entry number 7, Butler's Miss Marna, 534M, exhibited by Jet Baker of Stewart, Oklahoma. Your Class 11 winner and also champion senior Gelfie Heifer goes to entry number 44, Butler's Miss Lou, 13L1, exhibited by Jet Baker of Stewart, Oklahoma. Your Class 14 winner and also grand champion Gelfie cow-calf pair goes to entry number 45, and also your supreme champion Gelfie female, Miss Honeysuckle, 285 F37, exhibited by Locust Hill Farms of Yanceyville, North Carolina.
Here in our next class. The young lady to lead us off here, I think she does so with the most complete heifer in the class, one that I think really captures your attention from the moment that she hits the shavings out here. I like her circumference of bone and the foot size that she's working with. She strides out nice and genuine and true, one that again silhouettes up, certainly more stylish of all the three out here, but one that still you get behind her and you're not disappointed with the spring and curvature that she's working with out of her rib cage there. I like the width of hip and the levelness of hip that she's working with as well. A very complete female there to lead us off. The young man coming out here in second is one that most similarly falls in terms of type and kind as our class winner out here. One that just doesn't quite have the width and dimension as you get behind her and in front of her. One that you just want to blow her up a bit more out of that center body, drop her flank better. One maybe that, again, level her pin set as she wants to round out a bit there, and that kind of leaves her a bit short-strided as she gets on the move. And then the young man to round out this particular class is one that just reads a little more coarsely made to me. I appreciate, again, the circumference of bone that we're working with, but we need to square those toes up, get her set and right in the angle of her shoulder there, and one that just, again, reads more coarse and rounder out of her overall body type and kind to merit higher for me.
Congratulations, your reserve Supreme Gelfie female goes to entry number 8, Clara Allen, 415M, exhibited by Corbin Lowe of Winfield, Kansas. Your grand champion Gelfie heifer was also entry number 8, Clara Allen, 415M, exhibited by Corbin Lowe of Winfield, Kansas. And your reserve grand champion Gelfie heifer went to entry number 1, Nadia, 513N, exhibited by Cameron Nowak of Bland, Missouri. This is your second call, class 23, 25, and 27 balancers. Second call, class 23, 25, and 27 balancers. Results from your North American National Red Pole Show. Your Class 1 winner is exhibited by Luke Jones. Luke showed Red Oak, LJ Alessandra. Your Class 2 results in first place, entry number 10, JFTG Serena, J504, exhibited by Howard Young. Second place went to entry number 11, JFTG Jennings, exhibited by Malcolm Ray. Third place went to entry number 9, Dolls B Caroline, D251, exhibited by Dolls Red Poles. Congratulations, your calf champion went to entry number 10, exhibited by Howard Young. Your reserve calf champion went to entry number 1, exhibited by Luke Jones. Your Class 5 results in first place went to entry number 12, AK's Ray Polly, Y409, exhibited by Adam Miller. Second place went to entry number 13, Egyptian Pauline, 412, exhibited by Glenn Hamilton and Malcolm Ray. Your Class 6 results in first place, entry number 16, Cook Scarlet, D45, exhibited by Emily Cook. Second place went to entry number 14, SBF Jolene, exhibited by Silas Rains. Third place went to entry number 15, SFB Joanne, exhibited by Silas Rains.
Well, here in this division lineup out here, I think two impressive females to lead us off in both of those classes. Ones that both stand very well out here, respective to their age and maturity level. Again, in no particular order, the young man out here, just one that's really highly presented. She's very smooth from the point of her shoulder all the way back to her center body and out of her hip. One that just really highly presented, great set of hair on this female. They've done a lot of good work there. I love the way, again, that she ties that front foot all the way up through her shoulder and into the extension of her head and neck. She's got a good set to her hock as well. When she gets around the ring, she doesn't disappoint you. You get behind her, and she's one that's got a good top width that she's working with, proportional to her skeletal design. Maybe one that doesn't read quite as level out of her hip as the one behind her here, and maybe just want to give her a little bit more length of center body. But again, a heifer that's still very highly presented and well proportioned out here. The young lady's heifer here coming out of the second class is one that you really appreciate the broodiness that this female gives and the future that she's going to have. She stands on a strong set of feet and legs. Again, I liked the circumference of bone that she's working with, one that's extremely long in her center body. But maybe one that reads a little more coarse and round out of her shoulder, one that maybe, again, just could be a little bit smoother blending, lay that blade into a more open forerib to really match the length and power that she's working with. That being said, I'll get you how they sort in my mind from your champion in reserve. Let's give them a well-deserved round of applause.
This is your third and final call, Class 23, 25, and 27 balancers. Third and final call, Class 23, 25, and 27 balancers. Congratulations, your senior calf champion and your red pole show goes to entry number 12, AK's Ray Polly, Y409, exhibited by Adam Miller. Your reserve senior calf champion goes to entry number 16, Cook Scarlet, D45, exhibited by Emily Cook.
Well, we have a single entry class out here for this young lady, but again, I think a nice foundational heifer here that puts a lot of pieces together well for this young lady. She's one that certainly has a good amount of length of silhouette as you study her from the profile. I like the levelness of hip that she's working with. Maybe want to lay that tail head in ever so slightly. And as you study her front 1/3, I think there are some things that we can reorganize about this heifer. I want to lay her down at the point of her shoulder. She wants to edge that up just a little bit as you get on the side of her there. And one for the frame that she's working with, I'd like to get her more depth of that center body cavity, deepen her out of her flank as well. I think that'd see her balance up a bit better for, again, the length and frame that she's working with. But overall, again, a good foundational heifer for this young lady.
Your Class 9 results of your red pole show. In first place goes to entry number 17, JFF Sadie, J410, exhibited by Andre McNamara. Now entering the ring is class number 10 of your red poles.
Well, here in this next class, the young cowboy to lead us off is one that, again, just has a female that is most complete in my mind in terms of how she's working comparatively to the female behind her here. She certainly balances up a nicer head to tail when you get her on the profile. One that's deep-bodied and deep-hearted. One that balances out nicely in her underline, level out of her top. If I could, I'd just like to raise her up at the point of that forearm there and shoulder, just to give her a little more uphill appearance and tie that head better into the point of her shoulder there. But one, as you get behind her, she's certainly working with the most amount of mass of the group. And then the young lady who rounded out that class is one that's just working with more framework as you get underneath of her there. There's a lot of air going there. I'd like to get her more depth of body through that center cavity. And again, one that gets a little bit sharper at the point of that shoulder when you study her on top. I want to blow her up in the point of that center body there and smooth her out of her hip set. I think that'd see her more competitive.
Results of class number 10 of your red pole show. In first place goes entry number 18, BG57, exhibited by Cooper McCall. Second place goes to entry number 19, Young's Chief Abbey, Y401, exhibited by Madison Young.
Single entry class for this young lady out here, and is one that I think initially hits you nicely when you study her from the side and you see the length of body that she's working with there, but is one that for me I just want to pick her apart, reorganize her quite a bit. She's one that reads more coarse overall, one that's tight in her sternum and it's popping her loin edge up there as she gets set into motion. So I just want to give her more flex of spine and mobility. Again, we're working with a bit of frame here, so if we can deepen that flank and just give her some smoothness throughout, I think that'd see her competitive in a class of contemporaries.
Your Class 17 results. In first place, and also your Spring Balancer Heifer Calf Champion, goes to entry number 13, GHGF Kissed After Midnight, N510, exhibited by September Farms of Franklin, Nebraska.
Well, here in our next division out here, 4 individuals that I think have done a nice job with their projects and these cattle. Again, just kind of going down the lineup. The young lady to lead us off here is one that I think initially gives you a good look. You certainly appreciate the way that her head ties in there into the point of their shoulder then, but still want to lay that shoulder down a little bit smoother. One that has good length of body and balances up pretty nicely out of her hip set there, and one that you really like the circumference of bone and the big footedness that she has out here. But one that maybe, again, she doesn't quite have the depth of body in her center cavity and her flank relative to the frame that she's working with. And then the young man here out of the second class is one that just, again, certainly the powerhouse of the bunch. She balances out nicely in terms of the depth of body that she's working with, proportionalized to the skeleton that she has. Again, one that you want to raise her up at that forearm and point of shoulder just to give her a little more elevation out of that front 1/3. One that's just a little chesty out here in this particular lineup, but one that certainly you get behind her, and that's where you're really impressed with the width that she's got about her. And the young lady to round out the third class there is one that, again, still has a good length of body, but doesn't quite have the smoothness and the coordination that I'm looking for out here. Want to give her more circumference of bone, give her some bigger footing out there, and deepen her up out of her heel. I think that give her a more solid foundation. That being said, the young man's going to go ahead and be your champion. The young lady here is going to be your reserve. Let's give him a round of applause.
Final call, Red Pole Bulls. Final call, Red Pole Bulls. Please make your way to the makeup arena. Your Class 11 results. In first place goes to entry number 20. Carson Broadcaster Martha, C401, is exhibited by Robert Carson. Congratulations, your junior champion goes to entry number 18, BG57, exhibited by Cooper McCall. Your reserve junior champion goes to entry number 17, JFF Sadie, J410, exhibited by Audrey McNamara.
Young lady single entry class out here is one that I think from the profile perspective you admire the length of body, and up top you appreciate the boldness that she's got and the width up top and out of her loin set there, but one that maybe gets a little vertical in the rear quarter as you study her from the profile, one that could again handle more circumference and density of bone relative to the power that she's working with up top, but one that certainly again as you get behind her I just wish she had more natural width at her hock, square her up a bit there. She tends to walk pretty narrow and cow hocked in. One that's a little narrower out of her chest floor there. Again, just want to open her up, proportionalize her to the width that she's working with up top. But overall, a solid foundational type of heifer here for this young lady.
Your Class 20 results are your junior balancer heifer calves. In first place goes to entry number 19, Hellcat Melania N507, exhibited by September Farms of Franklin, Nebraska. Your Your Class 14 results of your red pole show. In first place goes to entry number 21, Young's NRN Y310, exhibited by Mackenzie Young.
Well, a single entry out here in our cow-calf class. Again, just kind of talking them as individuals out here. You know, we've got length of body from the 13th rib there back. But the cow, again, is one that you appreciate the length of body that she's working with, the boldness that she has out of her rib. But you want to give her more openness out of that fore rib. Give her a little bit bigger foot and stronger bone. And just centrally place her throw positioning a little better there so she can really stride out more genuine and true. Maybe less reverse tilt to the udder. But again, as a cow, that again is just kind of a meat and potatoes kind of a cow. The one that what you see is what you get. And the calf is one that I think has a good amount of foundation built into her. Nice and expressive type of little heifer calf there for this pair. Here in this lineup division, two individuals that are similar in their overall type and kind and the way they get off on the footing and the way they tie in from their shoulder out of their center body and just kind of how they get it set into motion here. No in particular order, young lady out of the first class is one that's just a bit smoother blending overall, one that has a bit more openness out of her fore rib and stronger out of the point of her shoulder there leading into her spine. Again, one that gets a little vertical and posty there out of her hock set when you study her rear quarter, but one that just has a bit smoothness, more smoothness about her overall, and what reads less coarse. And the pair coming out here in this out of the second class is one that again similar in type and kind. Want to give her more circumference of bone, bigger footed, and just need to see her blend into a more open fore rib and be less coarse overall. And for that reason, the young lady out of the first class is going to be your champion, and the pair is going to be your reserve. Let's give them a hand.
Your Class 15 results of your red pole show. In first place goes to entry number 22 and also your senior champion, JFF Dottie J312, exhibited by Andrea Weaver. Your reserve senior champion goes to entry number 21, Young's NRN Y310, exhibited by Mackenzie Young. Now entering the red pole ring is a selection of your grand and reserve grand champion female. Your Class 19 results of your junior balancer heifers. In first place goes to entry number 18, JNCC Naomi 514N, exhibited by Bo Noak Schladig of Missouri. Your Class 20 results. In first place goes to entry number 19, Hellcat Melania N507, exhibited by September Farms of Franklin, Nebraska. Congratulations to your champion junior balancer heifer calf. Goes to entry number 19, Hellcat Melania N507, exhibited by September Farms of Franklin, Nebraska. Your reserve champion goes to entry number 18, JNCC Naomi 514N, exhibited by Bo Noak Schladig of Missouri.
Well, please join me in celebrating this small but impressive lineup of division champions out here. There's something sacred about this moment, regardless of species that you're showing out here at the North American. And it isn't just the chips or the banners, it's proof that work, sacrifice, and empathy for something beyond ourselves still means something. These breed representatives standing out here, they represent more than structural integrity and power. They reflect grit, stewardship, and people who do things the hard way because it's the right way. Across our industry, we're facing hard truths. The U.S. cattle herd sits at 94.2 million head, the lowest mid-year number since 1973, while retail beef prices are up 13.9% over the past year. And these aren't just statistics, they're signals that every decision we make, from feed to genetics, from health choices to sale choices, carries weight far beyond this ring. I've watched friends and neighbors sell herds that they've spent a lifetime building because the math stopped working. And I refuse to believe that's the only future we can offer the next generation. The solution isn't record prices just to survive. It's lowering barriers so producers can grow their herds. It's breaking up the meat processing oligarchy so local families can compete. and it's tackling the health challenges that threaten the very herd we depend on. When producers can operate more efficiently and sustainably, we expand the American cattle herd and we strengthen the people behind it. Just weeks ago, a record 73,000 FFA members filled the streets of my backyard in Indianapolis. Young people that still believe in the future of agriculture being worth their time and talent. We owe them not just opportunity, but an industry that supports their ambition, not one that's too costly or complicated to enter. Our future needs and depends on them, on all of you and everyone watching here today. That's why what happens in this ring matters. It matters. The discipline, the consistency, and the care for these animals. This isn't pageantry. It's a vessel for future leadership. Brent said it yesterday in our grand drive, what a crazy and critical world that we live in. And he's right. But just imagine a world where more people out of the show industry take on more leadership roles. And what a wonderful world that would be. As we name our champions here today, remember, the banners, they'll fade, and the applause will quiet. But the habits built through this work, the early mornings, the consistency, the accountability, and the care for something beyond yourself, those will endure. To every family, handler, sponsor, breeder, and hand that made this moment possible for all of us out here today, thank you. Thank you for reminding us what resilience looks like. And thank you to the Red Pole Association for the honor and privilege, truly, of being with you all here at the North American. Now I'll put the mic down and I'll get you our champions.
This is your first call, Class 28, 30, and 33 balancers. First call, Class 28, 30, and 33 balancers. Congratulations, your grand champion Red Pole female goes to entry number 12, AK's Ray Polly Y409, exhibited by Adam Miller. Your reserve grand champion red pole female goes to entry number 16, Cook Scarlet D45, exhibited by Emily Cook. Your Class 22 results of your balancer heifers in first place goes to entry number 20, DNF Marcy, exhibited by Nidley Metz of Seneca, South Carolina. Second place goes to entry number 21, Journey's First Lady M121, exhibited by Thompson Phelps of Arkansas. Third place goes to entry number 43, LHC Sweet Caroline, exhibited by Molly Anderson of North Carolina. Your Class 23 results of your senior balancer heifers in first place goes to entry number 24, Maribel 456M, exhibited by Cameron Nowak of Bland, Missouri. Second place goes to entry number 22, TCC Pride 1219M, exhibited by Henry Dugan of Georgia. In third place, entry number 25, Butler's Miss Maisie M28, exhibited by Alexandria Robb of Markle, Indiana. Fourth place, entry number 26, exhibited by Davy Lynn Thompson of Campbellsville, Kentucky. This is your second call, Class 28, 30, and 33 balancers. Second call, Class 28, 30, and 33. Congratulations, your senior balancer heifer calf champion. It goes to entry number 24, Mirabelle 456M, exhibited by Cameron Nowak of Bland, Missouri. Your reserve champion goes to entry number 20, DNF Marcy, exhibited by Kinley Metz of Seneca, South Carolina. Attention in the barns, Gelfie and Balancer Bull exhibitors. All bulls will be called at the same time. Once again, on Gelfie and Balancer Bull exhibitors, all bulls will be called at the same time. This is your third and final call, Class 28, 30, and 33 balancers. Third and final call, Class 28, 30, and 33.
Well, as we head into our bull division here. The young lady single entry to lead us off is one that I think he's a good foundational type of bull. He's got good sheath and testicular development out here. He's really expressive out of his stifle as you study him from behind. I like the fullness that he's working with out of his rear quarter. One that's pretty bold out of his front 1/3. I like the way his head ties into his crest and into the point of his shoulder. But for me, where he wants to get pretty tight is through his center body there. He's pretty tight out of that forerib. I want to explode him out just a little bit better. Lay his shoulder blade into his forewall, his body wall there, and one that just kind of loosen him up out of his spine as he gets set into motion. He's one that wants to kind of pop that loin edge up ever so slightly as he gets put into motion there. But overall, a nice complete bull here for this young lady to start us off. Another single entry out here, but a bull I think that ties in quite a bit. He's rugged at the reed when you really study him as soon as he hits the shavings here. I like the head shape and the crest that he's working with, the boldness of the point of shoulder that he's got there, and he's pretty proportional as you study him up top from the point of shoulder all the way back through his hip. He's one that tracks nice and deep when he's set into motion there, very coordinated, but maybe one as you study him from the front, you want to give him more genuine chest width. I think that would see him even more competitive there, but again, a nice, complete, rugged type of bull for that young man.
Your Class 20 results of your Red Pole Bulls. In first place goes entry number 26, Cook's Troubadour D41, exhibited by Emily Cook. Your Class 21 results. In first place goes to entry number 27, JFFJ 419, exhibited by Howard Young.
Well, out here, these two, I think there's pieces and parts of both of them that you'd like to take and kind of put together to get kind of an ideal specimen out here. Just again, starting with the young lady, I really like the centered body cavity that this bull's working with. Good depth of body there as you study him from the profile. One that has a good amount of expressiveness out of his rear quarter. And I like the genuine chest width that he's working with when you study him from the front. Like we said, he tends to get a little bit long out of the point of his shoulder, but again, in our breeding bulls, they tend to mature out of that and kind of harden up there, and it gives them a bit more longevity. But maybe one that doesn't have the flex and mobility out of his spine and the coordination when he's set into motion. I'd like to see him reach deeper, have more flex there out of the top side of his skeleton to really get out and motor. And then the young man out here in the second class is one that, again, just reads very genuine and true, very kind of meat and potatoes type of bull. One that's very free moving out here, but again, from the side, he reads a bit tubular, and one that maybe you just want to, again, give him more natural width at his base, but one that's very free moving. I like the levelness over his top line. Just kind of a good, clean, complete type of bull. Just one that you want to balance out a little bit nicer and give him some more natural width. But again, I'll go out and get you how they sort in my mind out here, and let's give him a hand.
Congratulations, your intermediate champion of your Red Bull Bulls goes to entry number 27, JFFJ 419, exhibited by Howard Young. Your reserve intermediate champion goes to entry number 26, Cook's Troubadour D41, exhibited by Emily Cook. Attention in the barns. Don't forget, we have something special for you going on tonight at the Hitching Post in front of the West Wing. The Kentucky Headhunters are in concert starting at 8 p.m. this evening, delivering their bluesy vocals and some of the hottest guitar riffs in country music. The Headhunters have earned Grammy, CMA, and ACM awards for their distinct, eclectic Southern rock sounds, but tonight is a kind of a homecoming for this band from Edmonton, Kentucky. It's a special free performance you don't want to miss. The opening act began today at 4 o'clock.
Well, here in our junior division, I know it's a class, but it's also going to go ahead and be your division out here. Two bulls that are very different in their overall type and kind. The young man out here leading us off in this class is one that I like the cleanliness that he's got out of his chest and through his throat latch, the crest and the head shape that he's working with there, and the way he ties that into the point of his shoulder, just really massive up top when you get behind him there. One that doesn't sacrifice a whole lot of width across his spine, but one that as you get him into his rear quarter, that's where when you get behind him, he wants to give up quite a bit of expressiveness and density there from stifle to stifle when you get behind him. And one that when you get him on the move, he just tends to be a little bit too short-footed, short-legged there in the front. And he kind of has to throw himself out ahead of himself there and just kind of reads uncoordinated when you get him set into motion. So I just like to give him a little bit more length of that forearm there, put him at a little bit higher at the point of shoulder, and I'd see him more coordinated. But from a balance perspective, I think he has more depth of heart and center body, and again, he's going to need that with the frame that he's working with. The young lady's more moderate frame bull out here may not have the advantage of maturity perhaps, or maybe he's just a more composite type of bull, but is one that gets out on the move beautifully. He really tracks nice and deep. He's very comfortable when set into motion. I like the angle of his shoulder and the way he ties that into a more open body wall and forerib there. He's leveler over his spine, and again, as you study him from the profile, he's leveler from hooks to pins. Is one that I think, again, he has more expressiveness and dimension out of his stifle, but maybe one that reads more tubular when you get him at the profile. Not as clean chested there. He's kind of dropping that up a little bit. Want to give him more depth of heart, more depth of flank, and I think that see him balance out better from the profile perspective. But from a mobility, I think he has an advantage there. That being said, I'll get you how they sort in my mind for this division championship. Let's give him a hand.
First call on Gelvy Bulls to the makeup arena. First call on Gelvy Bulls to the makeup arena. Results of Class 27 of your junior balancer heifers. In first place goes to entry number 34, Butler's Miss Margot 549M, exhibited by Kyra Moore of Fountain Run, Kentucky. Second place goes to entry number 33, Miss Mia 2428M, exhibited by Casey Brown of Dwight, Kansas. Third place, entry number 35, goes to Mindy 411M, exhibited by Thompson Phelps of Arkansas. Fourth place, entry number 32, exhibited by Clarabelle Bishop of Kentucky. Fifth place, entry number 30, exhibited by Tillman Durosset of Kentucky. Second call on Gelvy Bulls. Second call on Gelvy Bulls.
Well, here in our bull division drive out here, I think we've got 4 specimen that do a nice job about being foundational type of bulls. Again, all good sheath and testicular development out here, and ones that in our class winners, both free moving type of bulls. They get out on the move really well. They're comfortable when set into motion. They track nice and deep. I like the depth of heel and the squareness of toe that they're working with. And ones that just, again, maybe they both read a bit tubular in my eyes. I'd like to, again, give them more depth of body. There's certainly quite a bit of differences and variations between the two, and we can talk. I'm starting with the bull out of our first class here. One that I like the way his head set ties into his shoulder there. I really like the point of that shoulder and that crest that he's got working with there. I think it blends itself a little more natural. I like the head carriage that he's working with, and he carries that even when set into motion there and doesn't want to get too lazy on you when he does get him stuck. I think as you study him on down, is one that still is nice and fresh and hydrated down his top line with good flex out of his spine. One that does have a good enough amount of heart depth and center body. Again, we want to deepen that up, get that flank dropped, but one that's still expressive and dimensional, level out of his hip, and one, again, that strides out very genuine and true. But as you get in front of him, one that you want to give him more width of chest floor. I think that see him even more powerful and rugged as he gets on in his journey. And then the bull out of our second class here is one that's just, again, naturally wide at his base, one that he carries that width very proportionally all the way up to the top edge of his skeleton. Again, another one that is more tubular in his overall design. Deepening that heart and flank is something that we want to do, but he's certainly pretty expressive in his rear quarter as you get behind him, but maybe one that doesn't tie up that headset quite as neatly into his head carriage and into the point of his shoulder, but one, again, that's nice and free moving. That being said, I'll go out here and get you your champion and your reserve. Let's give him another hand.
Attention to the barns is your first call. All optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls, please make your way into the makeup arena. First call, all optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls, please report to the makeup arena.
On our balancer side over here, what
Third and final call, all Gelvi bulls. Third and final call, all Gelvi bulls to the makeup arena. This is your first call, balancer bulls. First call, all balancer bulls to the makeup arena. This is your second call, all optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls. Please make your way to the makeup arena. Second call, all optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls. Back over your red and pole show, your champion and junior bull goes to entry number 29, JF Gunpowder and Lead, exhibited by Robert Carson. Your reserve junior champion bull goes to entry number 28, Dulls B Silver Sun, exhibited by Dulls Red Poles. Congratulations, your grand champion red pole bull goes to entry number 27, JFFJ 419, exhibited by Howard Young. Your reserve grand champion red pole bull goes to entry number 29, JF Gunpowder and Lead, exhibited by Robert Carson. Your champion pair of females goes to Silas Rains. Congratulations to your red pole premier breeder goes to Jackson Farms. And your red pole premier exhibitor goes to AK Cattle and Leo Young. Congratulations to our red pole exhibitors.
Well, as we conclude our red pole show out here at the North American, again, we're leading off with our two best pair. For me, I've talked them in their class, so I won't spend a whole lot of time out here, but just the consistency and the style that these exhibitors are bringing to the table, I think it moves the breed forward and continues to make them even more and more competitive and in line with some of the other major breeds out here, and so I really commend them for that. And again, these two just genuinely lead themselves off with just the reasons that we've given out through here today, but I really like the foundation that this team out here and the breeders are working with for this pair. And in our second place pair out here, again, I think a set that is pushing the breed forward. I really appreciate the female out here of this particular pair, and I didn't get to talk the bull when we were picking out for our reserve, but is one that I really like his foundation. I like the depth of body, and again, we talked about his freeness of moving and how he gets out on the move and he's kind of tight in his spine. Again, I think if we free him up in his sternum, he'll really be able to flex out better. So again, that's, I think, a bull that's worth a bit of the time and the effort on a chiropractor and just keep working him, because I think there's a lot of pieces there that could really bring him forward. Very good set working there in our second place class. And then the pair to round out our third, again, good foundational commercial type stock, but ones that, again, don't quite have all the bells and whistles and the smoothness maybe that I'm looking for out here to just kind of tie up and compete with those ahead of you. I really appreciate the Red Pole Association for having me out here this year. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I wish all the exhibitors in the coming days the absolute best of luck as you continue on at the North American. Thank you.
This is your third and final call. All optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls, please make your way to the makeup arena. Third and final call. All optimizer heifers and optimizer bulls to the makeup arena. Results at class number 28 of your junior balancer heifers. In first place goes to entry number 36, Butler's Miss Moana 207 M2, exhibited by Alexandria Robb of Markle, Indiana. Second place goes to entry number 38, Material Girl 601M, exhibited by Addison Prim of Jasper, Missouri. Third place goes to entry number 37, Butler's Miss Melania 13M3, exhibited by Clarabelle Bishop of Cox Creek, Kentucky. Congratulations to your junior balancer heifer champion. It goes to entry number 34, Butler's Miss Marco 549M1, exhibited by Kyra Moore